first thing is having a way to track its status. So having a to-do, doing, and done on it, or it could be you can add like a waiting or for approval in it. Hey there, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now, my goals at the end of this video is to walk you through the process of creating a task list, a to-do list if you may, for yourself and your virtual assistant. Now, if this is your first time on my channel, my name is Lai Lacaba. I've been working from home since I was 15 years old and now run my own outsourcing company here in the Philippines. And I post videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have business from home. So make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos. Now, when it comes to creating a task list or to-do list for you to go through the day, it's really important for you to know what's going on and what are going to be things that you'll prioritize for the day, what you have upcoming for the rest of the day. And as a business owner, it's going to be one of the main things that will keep you in line, will keep you on track for where it is that you want to go in your business. Again, it's a way for you to track what needs to get done, what has been done, what could be pending, waiting for approval. It's also a way for you to review. Maybe there was a task that has been there for too long that you just haven't got into, whether to assess or delete that. It's also a way for you to avoid missing deadlines. When you have a task list that's clear enough, that works for you, it's going to be easier to keep on track with dates, with things that need to get done, and even meetings. And when it comes to working with a virtual assistant, it can get a little bit complicated, especially if you don't have a good system yourself. Now, a lot of the tips that I'm going to be going through is going to be from the book Getting Things Done by David Allen. If you haven't read that book, I highly recommend it because it'll give you just a good framework on how to be able to make sure that you have a task list that you actually use. A lot of the time we have all of these apps, we have all of these actual paper to-do lists that we actually never really look at after we write in them. So hopefully at the end of this video, you guys will have a good system for yourself and also as you're working with your virtual assistant. Now, there's three main factors that you have to keep in mind as you're creating this whole system with your virtual assistant. The first one is a good delegation system. You have to have a way where you can capture tasks and be able to have your assistant actually catch them. The second important part is going to be the actual task tracker. Now, this can be in different tools and I'll dive into it in a little bit, but you basically just need a way of seeing, hey, the task that I set, 2 days ago, it's here, or it's in doing, or it's actually done. And the last part of this system is having a reporting system, a way for you to know that, hey, where is this task at? So the first part again is delegation or capture. In the book Getting Things Done, he talks a lot about capturing ideas because your brain is not made for storing, it's made for creating. So having a quick and easy way for you to be able to write down reminders, write down tasks for yourself or for your assistant is going to be important for you. So throughout the day, things will always pop up. We'll have, hey, it's going to be my dad's birthday in like 2 months, or I have this really important urgent thing that I need to do for my medical health or whatever it is. There's going to be things that throughout the day you will need to list down or write down. And again, it can be so tempting to have multiple different ways to capture that information. It could be through a post-it, it could be through a to-do app that you already have. But what I recommend is for this to work with you and your assistant, if there's already that confidentiality between you and your assistant, is you can give these tasks and reminders to them for them to be able to prioritize and talk with you later. This is a system that I have with my assistant. Is I know if there's a task that's stuck in my head that I'll do just a quick voice note on WhatsApp. That's what we use. You can use tools like Otter or GChat or any other tools where you can record yourself talking, and she can take that and she can add that task into my to-do list if I ask her to, or hers. So that's why the delegation or the capture system is really important. It's just to take things out of your head. Now, as you're starting out in creating your to-do list, the first thing that I really recommend is doing just a brain dump. This is your capture way to be able to grab everything that's currently in your head right now that you shouldn't be holding, so that it's all out in a system. Now, an important thing about having a capture or delegation system is you need to be able to trust it, that nothing will fall through the cracks. Because the more that you, let's say you are using right now post-its, but you don't really put it in your task tracker, then you're going to trust that system less and less. Yes, it gets the task out of your head, but also because you haven't put it in a place where you can look at it again later on, it's going to be stuck in your head later on. So it's really important that you have a good way to capture the thoughts, the ideas, the to-dos in some sort of tool. Now, again, for me and my assistant, we use WhatsApp. I just do a voice note and it takes us to the next part of the process, which is the actual task task tracker. Now for the task tracker, it's basically going to be a way for you to see where all the tasks are at. So there's going to be 5 different things that you need to make sure you have in that task tracker. The first thing is having a way to track its status. So having a to-do, doing, and done on it, or it could be you can add like a waiting or for approval in it. But the important thing is a task list for you to go through, and you'll be able to see again the status of it really quickly. Now you might be asking, am I combining my task list with my assistants? This really depends on you. I started out with having a separate to-do list with my assistant, and now we've just kind of combined both because it's easy for me to add tasks and just assign them to her. We're using a tool called Notion, by the way. If you haven't watched it, I have a whole video on how to use Notion. But basically, with Notion, it makes it easier for me to go through all of the tasks that we both have pending without having to switch tabs or look at different things. A lot of people, again, start off with having separate ones for them and their assistant. It really depends on you, on like different parts of your business might be really private that you don't want your assistant to see. So again, really is up to you. And on the flip side, you can just have your own private to-do list. Now you'll be responsible on maintaining it of things that you don't want your assistant to see, but have a more official, professional to-do list as you need it. Now, once you have that set up where you have a way to track the status, and this can be a Kanban board where you drag a to-do from one list to the other. It could literally just be a text on your file that says, to-do, doing, done, for approval or waiting, if you're waiting for a new task, if you're waiting for someone else before you can move forward. Then we move on to a few other labels that you need. One is a deadline. Now, when it comes to adding deadlines, it's really important to try to at least get an estimate of when you think you need to get this done. And of course, tasks that do have deadlines are going to be super obvious and quick to create anyway. Having that there, a date to when to move this forward, is going to be important for you to make sure that they don't fall through the cracks. A dangerous thing about like, hey, I'll do this somewhere in the future, but you don't have a date on it is, again, it's going to fall through the cracks. You're actually not going to get that done. As much as possible, you want to get it done. So having that deadline is going to be essential for both you and your virtual assistant, which brings us to the next thing that you need in your task tracker, which is going to be the priority system. Now, when it comes to a priority system, it has to be up to you. Maybe a year or two down the line, your assistant can easily prioritize things for you or prioritize things for themselves, but it will take a while. You can't expect your virtual assistant to know what the priorities are in your business, especially if they're just starting out. So when it comes to prioritization, I'm going to be taking it from the Eisenhower matrix. This is something that I've taught a lot of our clients in 2XU and a lot of our assistants, because it is such a good way to prioritize different things, especially when you're overwhelmed with tasks. Now, the first thing, the number one thing, the thing that you need to do right away, the first prioritization, are tasks that are urgent and important. So you want to rank your tasks, and you have the deadline and what is the level of importance that they have inside of your business. Now, if you don't do this, the business is actually going to blow up. Kind of think of it in that way. So whenever it has that combo of urgent and important, just do it. Just get it done. Just move it forward. In the book, Getting Things Done, it even recommends that if it's a task that you can do in 2 minutes or less, just get it done right off the bat. Don't even just wait for it to happen, just do it right away. Now, 2 in that priority list is decide. Now, what I mean by decide is these are tasks that are not urgent, but they're important. And we know there's a lot of these tasks. It could be as simple as creating a Facebook page for your business if you don't have one yet. It could be filing a few things. It could be things that are just in the future. They're not urgent yet. They're not gonna be happening within the week or so. So these are now priority number 2. So priority number 2 are tasks that, again, they don't have a date on it, but you have to make sure that you have a date on them. So this is where decide comes in. Decide when they actually become important to you and your virtual assistant. So as much as possible, you can do estimates, or if you know when it is deadline, put it on there. These are the tasks that you do after that number 1 tag. Next is, third one basically is going to be delegate or automate. So these are tasks that are urgent, but they're not important to you. So this is a very interesting catch-all for things that need to get done, but not necessarily by you. And it's really interesting if you think about how you can work this with a virtual assistant. Now, when it comes to tasks that are urgent but not important, it might be tasks that you are not the person who should be doing it, which of course, if you have still no idea what to delegate to your virtual assistant, you can check out my whole video on basically figuring out what those tasks are. But basically, you want to find out what are tasks that you're not good at, Tasks that, again, take up too much of your time that can be even automated, like email management or calendar management, booking back and forth between people on when you should have meetings should be automated with tools like Calendly. So as you're going through the list of tasks that you have, the things that you really want to get done, you're looking at, okay, how can I delegate this to someone else? Or how can I automate this and make sure that it doesn't get back on my list again? And the last category, and it's honestly one of my favorites, it's delete. These are tasks that are not urgent and not important. These are tasks that you have no idea why they're on your to-do list in the first place. You're actually curious, like, hey, why is this here? So this gives you a really good way that you assess if this is still a task worth doing or not. Maybe it changed its urgency, it's changed its importance, and you need to put it in your calendar or in your assistant's task list. But it's basically you have to look at this task of like, why is this here in the first place? And again, you get to decide if you want to automate this, give to someone else, or you want to put a future date of when you actually want to think about it. So those are the main elements that you should have in your task list. Again, it's a way to track the status, it's a way to track the deadline, and a way to track the priority. So then you know what your priorities are for the day based on the date you've given, based on the priority level that you've given it. Next important thing you need on your tracker is a way to track recurring tasks. This is something a lot of people do forget. It's just, what are the daily tasks? What are the weekly and monthly tasks that do need to get done? These are tasks that are probably number 2. They're in the decide. They don't get urgent right away, but they do. So try to have a way that with you and your assistant, you can track those recurring tasks. With me and my assistant, what we have is we actually have a separate tracker of daily, weekly, monthly tasks, and we go through that when we do our meetings, and I'm able to see like, oh yeah, that's coming up. Oh yeah, we should get that done, or maybe we should probably delete that or not do it again. So again, it's a good way for you to kind of just have a good checkpoint of where you're at and a good checkpoint of assessing your tasks and what you need to do for that week. And lastly, a big thing that probably should be on your task tracker is a way to group them or have them as projects. Now, from time to time in your business, you'll probably have what's called a sprint, a big massive to-do list that has a goal but is not a permanent thing. So for example, setting up your social media accounts, creating a task tracker system, these are all sprints. These are short things that need to get done, or they could be a whole project. Having a way that you can filter out what project this is or what sprint this is going to be helpful for you as you're getting maybe a status report from your assistant. Now, once you have the way to delegate, you have the way to track, now the last important thing is reporting. How do you actually find out if the task has been done or not? Instead of 2XU, we have 2 main ways that we can track these tasks. One is assistants send us a daily report. They send us a list of the tasks they're able to do that day, and that list of tasks they're going to be doing tomorrow, and just generally how they are, from really 1 to 10, 10 being the highest. How are they doing? It's a good way for us to check in on them and make sure that they have everything that they need to keep moving forward. After that, beyond that, we also have the weekly reports. Now, the weekly reports is a good way for you to review things. So remember earlier when I talked about the different status, maybe there's something that's for approval or for review, or something that's waiting. You get to get an update on everything else in a more capsulated way, and for you to understand where the project or the task is at. The weekly report is a Zoom call that we do, and this is also a way for our clients to be able to delegate tasks to their assistant. It's a way for them to find out more about where a certain stuck task is at and be able to provide support as well as needed. Now, as your business grows and changes, there's going to be more of a need of a task tracker, especially as you start to grow your team. You need to know where certain things are at without having to micromanage or really ask them what they're doing. You have a way that you can just see their tasks in one go, and a way for you to track your own tasks and see where you're at. Now, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there and comment below, what task tracker do you use for yourself or for your virtual assistant? And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have a business from home. And you guys can check out those 2 playlists right here and the latest video right here. And I hope you guys have an awesome day, and remember that small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.